Wait, I have pushed your stream live, and now you can make me a co-host.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right. I gotta run grab my glass of water. I forgot. I'll be right back. Hey, morning, Carl.
How you doing?
You're first in the shop again here. Hey, Carolyn.
Gmail's a tough one.
Yeah, lots of features in Gmail.
Yeah.
So you're muted, Carolyn, if you were trying to say something, but good morning. Oh, there you go.
Good morning, and I'll probably have to take it 22, but that's okay.
Okay, no problem. Let's see, who else is here? Hannah, good morning.
Good morning.
And see, Donna's here. Hi, Donna.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, great. Hi. See, Vera's come in. Morning, Vera. And let's see, Kelly's here. Hi, Kelly. You have two Kellys signed up today. And they're both here. So we got Kelly with a Y and Kelly with an IE. So welcome to both of you. And Pat, are you there?
Good morning.
Hi, Pat. Welcome.
Hello.
Let's see, Jim, are you there? And if you can hear me, just unmute and say hi so I know I can hear you. Hi, Vera. So you got your camera going. All right. And Jolitha, you there? Okay. So you've unmuted, Jolitha. Just go ahead and say hi. Make sure your microphone's working.
It's a great name.
It is a nice name. And let's see, and Elizabeth.
Yes.
Okay, hi. Welcome this morning. Glad to have you. Okay, I think I've heard. Okay, thanks, Jolitha. All right, so I think I've heard from just about everybody. We should have a few more people coming in. We've got several other people signed up, but I'm going to go ahead and get started with some of my setup and getting the technology all arranged here. So give me just 1 second to do that, and then we'll get started. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen first. So you should be seeing my slides at this point. And I'm going to move your pictures over to my other monitor so I can see you over here. that is good. And so we will be muting everybody when we start the class. So just a reminder to be sure to check and see if you're muted before you ask a question or make a comment. If you're muted, just unmute yourself and go ahead and ask your question. You don't need to raise your hand or anything, just unmute and ask away.
Can you make the slide full screen?
It is full screen on my side. Or what are you saying?
About some of us across the top and then about a half the screen getting started.
Okay.
So I don't see a large screen.
I'm going to see, and Todd from our TA group is here. So Todd, could you maybe connect with Carolyn in the chat and see if you can help her get her screen working?
Sure.
She can see a little more. So Todd is here joining us from our TA group, but he's going to help monitor the chat and also available for any technology issues. So if anybody's having trouble getting their camera working or your microphone working, you can always chat with Todd, and he should be able to help you out with those issues. And speaking of the chat, I have just opened the chat as well. So if you're having trouble with your microphone, you can always reach us in the chat, or if you need to communicate something via chat instead of out loud. But if your microphone's working, please do just go ahead and unmute and ask your question out loud. That way I'll hear you and everyone else can hear your questions as well. All right, so we are ready to get going. I see a couple more people are coming in here. But we're going to go ahead and get started. We usually take the first 5 minutes to give a chance for everybody to get here and get their technology working. And we're at that point. So let's start the class. This is Getting Started with Gmail. This is the first of 2 classes in the Gmail series. Thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoy the class. My name is Wade Yarber, and I'll be your guide for the class today. A little about me. I'm from a small farming community in Tennessee called Mason. It's about 30 miles out of Memphis. That's where I was born and raised. I live in North Carolina now, Southport, North Carolina. I have a doctorate degree in psychology, experimental psychology, not counseling, so I won't be psychoanalyzing anyone. And I have taught psychology off and on in my career, but most of my work career was spent designing, installing, and training users on hospital information systems. I did have a minor in computer science, so I was always kind of bouncing back and forth between technology and psychology, I just like to say. But what I enjoy about teaching here at Get Set Up is I get to teach people that are here because you want to take the class, not because someone forced you to take the class. And that is what we try to do at Get Set Up. We try to create classes that you're interested in taking and that you can take along with other people. You can hear each other's questions. You can even interact with each other. You can all interact with the guide presenting the class. So we try to create a nice, comfortable environment. That's one of the reasons we do ask people to turn their cameras on if they're okay with that. It kind of increases that sense of community a little stronger, but certainly is not required. The session is being recorded. And any one of you can request a copy of that recording by sending an email to help@getsetup.io. I'm going to put that in the chat in case you don't have that. There we go. Email in your contacts. Go ahead and copy that. This is your one-stop shopping. You can send any questions, comments, complaints, any communication you need to have with Get Set Up to that email address, and it'll get routed to the right person. We're also live streaming the class today, and so I do want to welcome anyone joining us via live stream. Thanks for joining. Hope you enjoyed the class as well. But I do want to point out the only way to be part of that interactive group that I was just talking about is to go to our website and join the class there. And finally, Get Set Up is not paid to promote any of the products or vendors that we train on. So the agenda for today, by the end of the class, you should understand the basic navigation of Gmail, how to move around in the screen, how to compose and send messages. how to configure and manage your inbox. That's a big piece of what we're talking about today, and what labels are and how they compare to folders, which is probably the biggest difference between Gmail and other email systems that I've used. So let's get started. This class is the basic class, the beginning class. So it doesn't assume you've had any experience with Gmail. So if you haven't accessed Gmail already, to access Gmail, you have to have a Google account. That's the first requirement. I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. Once you've got your Google account, you can access Gmail. There's two different ways you can get Gmail. One is the browser version. That's what I'm going to be using today. It works on any laptop, desktop, tablet, any device that will support a browser. And it is the full functioning version. There's a number of things that I'll show you that only work with the browser version. There's also an app version, which is a more stripped down version. It's a mobile app that will work on your smartphone or your tablet. And you can check your emails and do a lot of the things I'm going to show you today, but it works differently. The navigation's different. The screens are different. So it's going to be very difficult to try and follow along on the app. So if you have a browser on your device, I would recommend using the browser version if you want to follow along today. Of course, you can just watch my screen and see how everything works and then take a look at it later. So I'm going to switch browsers. Speaking of browsers, I already have a browser queued up here. So if you don't have a Google account yet, go to www.google.com and there'll be an option to sign up. It'll take you to the account creation screen, very simple, one page, and it is free. So it's very quick and easy to create a Google account. Once you have a Google account, you can then come to this screen and there'll be a sign in link where you can sign into your account. Once you've done that, your screen will look like mine. I'm now logged in. Up here in the upper right, it shows the Google account that you're currently logged in under. I'm in my personal account. You can have more than one account. So if I click on this, it'll show me the account I'm using. It also show me other accounts that I have already logged into on this device that I can switch back and forth between. This is my work account. This is my personal account. You can have as many Google accounts as you like. There's no additional charge for additional ones. Each account has its own separate email though. They're not linked. The next icon right beside your account icon is the Google Apps icon. It's often called the waffle icon. It looks like a round waffle. If you click that, it shows you all the different apps available to you as part of your Google account. And you can see there's quite a few of them. We do have a class called Introduction to Google Apps, where we go over these various apps and tell you it, not a whole lot of detail, but explain what they are. And we have classes on quite a few of these as well. But for today, we're interested in Gmail. So I'm going to just click Gmail here, and that will take me to the Gmail home screen. Any questions about getting to here? And as always, if you have questions, comments, just unmute and go ahead and ask your question. So let me go over the navigation of the screen first for anyone that's totally new to Gmail. Up here in the upper left, there's a triple bar, sometimes called the hamburger. This is the main menu. If you hover over any icon in Google, it will tell you what it is. By hover over it, I mean hold your cursor over it without touching the mouse buttons. If you click this, it collapses that menu on the left-hand side. Most of the time, you're going to keep it like this, but sometimes this gets clicked by accident and you look at your screen and you say, what happened? I lost all my stuff. Click it again and it will toggle it back to full menu. There's a search box here. We're not going to cover that in this class. I mentioned this is the first of two classes. The second class is Gmail Useful Things You May Not Know. And we spent a lot of time on searching in that class. Google started as a search engine. It has a very powerful search engine. It's why we moved that out to the other class. Over here is the settings icon. We will be in the settings quite a bit today. Here's that same waffle icon again and the account icon. So again, I can go back into here and select any other app. So if I wanted to have my calendar open or check my contacts, I could do that from here. Over in the right-hand side are some other apps that you can open without leaving Gmail. For example, if I come here and click Calendar, it's going to open Calendar in another tab. If I just want to check my calendar real quick, instead of having to do that, I can just click here and it'll show me today on my calendar. So I can just check today very quickly. And there's some other apps here that we're not going to go into today. If you don't see this side panel down at the bottom right, there's a hide side panel or show side panels. Again, this little arrow just toggles it back and forth between on and off. If you can't see it, it's probably off. If you see it and don't use these and want to free up that space, you can click it and turn it off. Moving around to the bottom left, there's Meet and Hangouts. This is kind of the same thing. These are two other apps within Google. Meet is like Zoom. It's a way you can set up a virtual meeting with another person or a group of people. Hangouts is like a group chat. If you use these, it's handy to have them here, just like it's handy to have those here. However, if you don't use them, they take up a lot of valuable real estate over here. I don't use them, so I'm going to turn them off. I'll show you how to turn them off if you don't use them. Just come up here to Settings. And we're going to click See All Settings. We're going to do this a lot. And we want to, and within this See All Settings, there are a lot of different tabs. You can see each tab has a lot of settings. There's lots of settings in Gmail. We're not going to go over all of them. Don't get upset. But there's one here called Chat and Meet. If I click that tab, it shows me these three settings. And all I have to do is to turn chat off and then say hide the Meet section. Save my changes, it'll repaint my screen, and they'll be gone from the bottom left over here. Free up this space for what looks like folders. They're not folders, we'll talk about that later, but it gives me that space back. And then making our way back all the way around is the Compose link where you can create a new message. Let me stop there and see if there's any questions about the layout of the screen, the navigation of the screen before we go into Compose.
Maybe not yet, but the last few months when I turned the computer on, Gmail has like 20 messages I don't want, I didn't ask for. Besides going into each one and trash, is there another way?
Yeah, there is. We cover that in that useful things class. You can,
Okay, I'll wait.
set up something that will turn them off automatically, and or you can get rid of them in bulk.
Okay, got it.
Yep. But yeah,
All right.
that's a little more complicated. So that's in the next class.
All right.
Sure. So we're going to compose a message. That's one of the big things you do. I mean, the two main things you do with Gmail is compose messages and then read messages. We're going to start with composing. That's simpler and faster. I'm going to click Compose. It opens the drafts window where I have a draft message that I'm starting to compose. I would put who I'm sending it to. And I'm going to just send it to my Yahoo account to have something here. And we're just going to call this a test message. And then you would start to compose the body of your message. I'm not going to spend much time on composing a message because it's pretty much the same as you've used before. Down here is your formatting bar. If you don't see the formatting bar, this row of icons controls the different things you can do when you're composing the message. We'll go over some of these today. Some of these we'll cover in the next class. But this icon controls that bar. So if it's missing, this probably got clicked. Click the little A with the underline called formatting options. It'll bring your bar back. But you can change the fonts. You can bold it, italicize it, underline it, put in bulleted numbered lists. There's also an arrow here. Anytime you see an arrow or a triple dot, click it. It means there's more stuff there. So I could have a bulleted list instead of a numbered list. Typical things you're probably familiar with from other emails, so I'm not going to cover that
change size of font.
Uh-huh. So if I want to change the font size, I can just click here. And again, if you hover over any of these, it'll tell you what they do. So this icon might not be obvious, but if you click over it, it says, now you've got only 4 options: normal, large,
Okay.
huge,
Yep.
small. So I'll put it back to normal. In fact, the other thing I will point out, which is handy and it may not be obvious, is this undo. So if you've done something and you want to undo it, it clicks back to what it was before. So I can go back through that whole series of things I just did and put it back to where it was when I started. That's what the undo does. This redo takes you back in the other direction. So it keeps track of what you've done. You can go backwards or go forwards without having to redo it. I do want to talk about a few of the icons down here because they're a little different in Gmail than other emails you've probably used. Or were there any other questions about composing the body? Okay, I'm going to show you the attached file. Again, this one I'm going to do quickly because most emails these days have this feature and most of them have the same icon. It's a paperclip. So I'm going to attach a file quickly. I'm going to click the paperclip. It opens up, I'm on a Windows device, so it opens up File Explorer and shows me all the different folders and files I have on my device. I can go to my downloads folder, my documents folder. I can also go up here to my cloud drives if I have any of those. I have OneDrive, which is the Microsoft Cloud Drive. I could pull something out of any of these, anything I can get to from my device. So I'm just going to grab a document here out of my documents folder and click open. And it's now attached this document. It's been attached at the bottom. So one of the issues with attachments is I can reference it here, and typically you do. You say see attached. And then I would keep typing, and the person would have to scroll down to the bottom if it's a long message to find this and open it. There's a couple of other options with Gmail that you can do. And one thing I didn't point out, but if I click here, this shows me things on my device. It does not show me my Google Drive. And if you're a Google person, you know that Google Drive is where all your Google documents are stored. So if I wanted to attach a Google file, I would come over here to insert files using Drive. By Drive, they mean Google Drive. So this pulls it off my device. This pulls it out of my Google Drive. I click here and it takes me to my Google Drive. I can look at any of the documents, spreadsheets, presentations, whatever is out there. I can grab one of these and click insert. Just click the document you want and click the insert. And what it does, it puts it in the body of the email. So instead of having to say see attached and they have to go all the way to the bottom, it's right here in the body. So I could say, here is the letter, and put a link to the letter, and then I could just keep typing down here. And the person, if they want to see it, they can click here to access that letter. Now, the other thing you can do is to insert a photo. Now, I can attach a photo. I could go to my computer and find a photo and attach it down here at the bottom, but they'd have to click on it to see the photo. That's the way most emails work these days. But I can insert it instead. So I'm going to click Insert Photo. And again, it assumes I'm a Google person, and it takes me to my Google Drive, my Google Photos, where I can find something. And if I want to attach something here, I can just click on it and say Insert. And it will put that picture right in the body of my email. So instead of having a link at the bottom to the picture that you can't see till you click on the link, it's right there in your message. be talking about it, then put the picture in there, then continue on with your email. Now, it works real easy if you're using Google, but Google does let you get to pictures other places. So, so I can keep typing and say, and I go back to the same place, insert photo. Anywhere in Google that you see the word upload, that means you can get outside of Google Drive and go grab something from your device. So in this case, I don't want a photo from Google Drive, or maybe I don't even use Google Photos. So I click upload. And this, I say choose photos to upload. This takes me back to my device, same as if I clicked File Explorer. So I can grab pictures that are on my computer, or I can even grab pictures that are in a cloud drive. And so I can click that picture off of my device, say open, and it works the same as if I pulled it off of Google Drive. Questions about inserting versus attaching and how that works with and without Google Drive. Okay. If not, we'll move forward because this, at this point, there's three things I could do. I could go ahead and send this message if I wanted to send it. If I want to come back and work on it some more, but my wife just called me and said it's time for lunch, I can click here where it says save and close. When I do that, it puts it into my under the drafts label. When I get back from lunch, I can click here, and you can tell I've got a lot that I'm working on, but here's the one we were just working on today. I can click here, retrieve that email message we were working on, and keep typing again. So that's the save and hold. Or if I decide I don't want to send this after all, you can click over here to delete it. So send it, save it and work on it some more later, or discard it. And when I discard it, you'll notice this draft up here is going to disappear. So that draft went away. Basically what I did is deleted the draft that was sitting in there. Okay, let's talk next about managing your inbox. That's a big part of what you're going to want to do. And to manage your inbox, what Google has done, which is very nice, is that you click on the settings, but instead of having to go into all those settings with all those drop downs and pages, it's pulled out the main ones that you typically are going to want to use, and have put them here. And the first thing is density. And what density is, it's basically the spacing and formatting of the rows here. And the default one has them what I call double spaced, but it also breaks out any attachments and puts them out so you can see that this email has an attachment, and I can even click here and open it. Comfortable is just like default, but it doesn't break out the attachment. With this one, I can see there's an attachment, or with this one, I don't see that. And then compact is single spaced versus double spaced. You can pick any one you like. This is the one I like, so I'm going to leave it the way I like it. Next thing you can do is pick a theme. I've got a fairly boring theme, but if I wanted to jazz things up a little bit, I can pick a different theme, a little more color. I can click view all, and it shows me lots of different themes. I can click here for more. Here's just background colors, and then here's even more down below. So lots of different themes. You can change it daily, hourly. This is the one that I like, so I'm going to put mine back like it was. That's themes. Probably more important is the actual layout of the messages in your inbox. So this is the default configuration. If you haven't done anything, this is what yours probably looks like, something similar to this anyway. There'll be several tabs at the top. It used to be 3, maybe more now, but each one of these tabs has a different inbox, if you will, different messages. Google decides which messages go into which of these tabs. We're going to come back to that one later. You can, as you can see, I can customize that default one. And I'm going to come back and do some customizing to put it the way I like mine. But it's basically, it has the tabs across the top, and then the messages are just reverse chronological order. The next option is important first. This is something unique, I think, to Gmail. At least I haven't seen it in any of the other ones I've used. It's called important first. And what there you have is this important flag over here. And so it puts every message with the important flag set first, and then it has another grouping with everything else. So everything that doesn't have the important flags marker set. What that important marker is it's sort of like a star, but we also have stars. We'll talk about them in a minute. But what it is you can set this yourself. But if you look at what's right below my cursor, it says, click to teach Gmail. This conversation is important. Google tries to figure out what you think is important and what you think is not important. So I can say, this email from National Institute on Aging is not important. It shouldn't be up in my important. And Steph Fontaine shouldn't be either. And I can look down here and say, oh, but Steve Taylor should have been up there. So as you gradually train Google, it's like a puppy, you have to train it. What's important, what isn't. Whenever a new message comes in, it will set this flag automatically. So over time, it'll do a pretty good job of setting it. Questions about that important marker? All right. So if you like that important marker, if you use that, this is a way you might want to organize your inbox. Important first, everything else later. The next one is unread first. Pretty obvious. Anyone that hasn't been read yet is in the top section. Everything else is in the lower section. The next one is starred first. Again, pretty obvious what we're doing here. But one thing you've noticed, which again, I think is unique to Gmail, is all emails have a star, but it's typically binary. It's star or not starred. Gmail has lots of different stars you can use. You can see that see them here. So anything that has a star is put in the top section. Everything else is in the bottom section. You can determine which stars you want to use, and you can. Google doesn't tell you what they mean. You have to make that up yourself. So you may say a gold star means important. A gold exclamation point means more important. Question mark may mean I think this is important, but I'm not sure. I need to look at it some more later, and I don't have time to look at it right now. Whatever. I'll show you how you can define the stars that you want to use. We're going to go into settings again in the upper right and do see all settings. And it's under general. And you just scroll down until you see stars. It's easy to find. There's all the stars. And you basically drag and drop to pick the ones you want and to put the order you want them in. So here's the ones I'm currently using. Here's the ones available that I'm not using. If I decide I don't want to use this one, I just drag it out of the top section and drop it in the lower section. If there's one down here I want to use that's not up there, I can grab it, put it up here. If I want to change the order, I just drag and drop. So it's all drag and drop until you get the in-use row in the order you want to see them. When you're finished, save your changes. And now when I click the star, if you watch my screen, it's going to go to yellow, to exclamation point, to question mark, to a check mark, to whatever that is, and then back to off. That's how you pick which star you want. Questions on stars. That one's a little different than most of the other emails. All right. If not, there are two others here I'm not going to go into today because these are more complicated and most people don't need it. You can, with these, you can have up to 5 sections in your inbox instead of just the 1 or 2 that we've got with the other ones. I will mention quickly the reading pane. Most of the other emails have a reading pane. You can do the same thing here. If I want a reading pane below, I can click here and it puts my reading pane down at the bottom. Reading pane just lets me click on a message and then see it down in the bottom without having to open it. I could have it on the right side instead. Get this out of the way so you can see a little better. Again, I can click on a message and scan it over here. What some people like to do is they'll go through their inbox first and they'll just scan and set flags and important markers or delete them. And then they'll come back later and actually deal with anything they need to deal with. So it's nice for scanning. What I like about Gmail is that with most emails, you have to go into settings to turn this on and off. With Gmail, I can just click here and turn it off if I don't want it. If I want it back, I can click again and bring it back. So it's nice that you can click it on and off. Questions? So that's the last thing about configuring your, oh, there is one last thing. I want to put it back the way I want mine. So I'm going to go back in and I'm going to come back down here. I like default, but I don't like all the tabs at the top, all of these tabs, because I lose things. I don't remember to check over here. So I want it reverse chronological order, everything in one box, but I don't want the tabs. I can click customize. And here I can see all the tabs. If I like tabs and want all of them, I can click all of them. If I don't like them and I don't, I'll just turn them all off and say save. And now I've got just one big inbox. Everything's in reverse chronological order. It's the way I like mine. You can set yours however you like yours. Questions before I leave configuring the inbox? Okay, the next topic is the toughest one. So I've allowed a good bit of time for this one, and it's labels. And you see these things over here, and you probably think they're folders, and other emails, they would be folders. They're places in other emails where you put messages. Typically, you take them out of your inbox and put them into a folder. In Gmail, it does the same function, but it works differently. Let me grab this message for example, and I'm going to open it. And so I look at this, and let's say this is about positive psychology. And let's say I was using my Yahoo Mail or any of the other mails, and I want to keep this, but I don't want it in my inbox anymore. I'm just filing it away in case I want to grab it later. I would take it out of my inbox and I'd go down to my positive psychology folder and put it in that folder. What I'm going to do instead is to click this label icon at the top. And I'm going to say, apply the positive psychology label to this message. And it's right here. Now here's the first difference. And this is called how to enhance your impact. If I go down to positive psychology and click on it, it's going to be in here, how to enhance your impact. But if I go back up to my inbox, it's still in my inbox too. It's 2 places, which you can't do with folders. Let me expand on this a little bit, then I'll stop for questions. Let me open it. And let's say, yes, this has to do with positive psychology, but I teach a class in college. And that's one of the things I'm going to be teaching a class on positive psychology maybe next semester. So I'm gathering information to start developing that class. So I want to be able to get to it from here as well. So I can add a label for college class, say apply. And now I've got 3 labels. And I can get to that message from my inbox. It's still here. I can get to it now from college class. It's right here. And I can also get to it from positive psych. It's right there. So what this lets me do is I can categorize a single message in multiple filters. With folders, if I had a folder for Positive Psych and a folder for my college class, I'd have to pick which of these is more important and put it in one or the other. I couldn't have it in both. That's what labels lets me do. Does that make sense? Questions? All right, let me keep developing this one because there's more to it. Now, the next question typically is, okay, so it's still in my inbox. And what I want to do is to clean out my inbox. A lot of people like to have their inbox empty by the end of the day. I've never gotten that organized, but I don't want to just have everything in my inbox. So I'm done with this for now. I want to look at it later when I'm doing my class or when I'm pulling up Positive Psych stuff, but I don't want it in my inbox any longer. I can open this, and inbox is just a label like the other two labels here. The reason I can see it from inbox is because it has this label. If I take this label off and think about this like a file folder or like stickies on a document. So I've got a document and I put 3 little tabs on there. I can just grab this tab and pull it off. And so it's no longer available in my inbox. It's gone. It is still available from my college class. It's right there. It's still available in Positive Psych. It's right there. It's just not in my inbox any longer. So to get things out of my inbox, 2 things I can do. So I could take that label off, or I can do archive. Archiving and taking the inbox label off do exactly the same thing. Just 2 different things you can click, 2 different names. So what's the archive? This takes me to the other part that's a little complicated. So I've been telling you what aren't folders, and none of these things are folders. There are 3 folders, and only 3 folders in Gmail: all mail, spam, and trash. Every message that comes into your Gmail starts in all mail. Any message you compose starts in all mail. Only way it gets out of all mail is if you move it into spam or if you move it into trash. So other than the things you've moved out of your all mail, everything is in all mail. In fact, here is that message: how to enhance your impact, sitting here at all mail. So that message is living here, physically here in this folder. I'm getting to it from college class and Positive Psych because these are filters. This college class filters the all mail for anything that has that college class label on it. Is that making sense, or am I losing you? This is a bit of a mind shift for most people. It's a little tough to get this down. Questions? All right, let me keep going. Let's go back to my inbox.
Wait.
Uh-huh.
If you go into inbox and can you move something from inbox into spam?
It'll probably let me do it. But what it does is takes the label off and then moves the message.
Oh, okay.
But if I wanted to put it in spam, from what I would do and what it's designed to do, if I'm in my inbox and I've got this message open in my inbox, if I want to put it in spam, I would just click here and it would move it into spam, take it out of my inbox, or I could put it into I can delete it,
and then you
put it down here in my trash.
Then you won't see it in all mail anymore.
Then you would not see it in all mail because it's physically moving it out of all mail into trash if I click trash, or it's physically moving it out of all mail into spam if I click spam.
Okay, thanks.
Now it
And
still has the label on here, but it won't show up under that filter any longer if it's in trash.
What is spam compared to trash?
Trash is just things that you're done with and you don't
Right.
want to see it anymore. Whereas spam is stuff that someone is sending to you that you don't
Oh.
want. So for example, let's open
Okay.
this again. Let's say I've been getting stuff from National Institute on Aging.
Mhm.
I've tried to unsubscribe. They won't unsubscribe it. I can, and you notice it says report as spam. It will not only move it out of my inbox into spam, anything that new that comes in from them will automatically go to my spam. It will go
Okay.
come to my inbox, go straight to my spam box. And it's also going to send a report to Google saying this organization is spamming me. Google will investigate them. And if they think that they're truly spammers, they'll apply that rule to other people saying anything from that organization will go into the spam automatically. That's why some things show up in your spam that you never put into spam. So Google has decided that this is spam and it's put it in my spam folder automatically, which means you probably need to check this periodically to see if Google's putting stuff in your spam that really aren't spam. Yep, good questions. I'm going to keep developing this for another minute, then I'm going to need to move on. But so let's say I've got this one open, and this is from the National Institute on Aging. So I want to, and I have a folder for them. So I want to put it in that folder. So I can, again, go up here to my labels and find NIA, put that label on there. But let's say I'm also going to be doing something for my college class around aging. And so I want to create a new sub-label under my college class. So I click on labels and I want to call it aging. So I don't have an aging label right now, but I can just come down here and say create a new label. I can create a label called aging. And if I just create this, it'll put it over here at the same level as these other ones, but I can also nest it under another existing label. So like in this case, I said, this is going to be another class I'm going to work on. So I want to have a separate label called aging, but it's nested under my college class label. I'm going to create that so you can see it. So here it is. So here's my aging label. It's nested under my college class label. So if I could have a separate label for each one of the classes I'm going to teach, they would all be under this college class label, just like nesting folders. You're probably used to that concept. You notice a lot of these have colors on them. If I wanted to give this a color, I can click the triple dot. I said, anytime you see a triple dot, click it. This is where I can change the color. So I can give it a nice bright color if I want to make it show up. So I've given it a color. I can tell up here that it's now got this label, college class / aging. So I can tell not only is it in my aging folder, but I can see that the aging folder is nested under the college class folder. So I can see all that in the message as well. And maybe I decide I don't want to teach this class after all, so I don't need this label after all. I can click on the triple dot and just say remove the label. This is again where the label's different from folders. If I had put in my old email, if I'd put 4 or 5 messages in this folder and then I decided I didn't want that folder any longer, I'd have to go and take those messages out of that folder, put them somewhere else. Here, I've never moved the message. The message is still sitting up here in all mail. I'm just taking that label off, so I can just say remove the label, and it's going to delete that label. It tells me there's one message in there that has it. So I delete. It took it off. You can see it's now gone from the message up here. It's gone from over here. The message is still here in my inbox. It's also in my all mail right there. So that's the other nice thing about labels. It's very easy to delete them if you don't need them any longer. Other questions about labels and folders? Okay, let's move on. If there's no questions here, I'm trying to think of anything else I needed to tell you about that. I think I covered everything. A couple things I'll mention unrelated to that is that in spam, they sit there for 30 days and then they're automatically deleted. Same thing with trash. They'll sit here for 30 days. If you don't take them back out of trash, they're deleted. So let's go back to the inbox if there's no questions there, and we'll talk about messages for a minute. We got about got plenty of time here, so if they have other questions, we'll have time to cover those as well. Yes. So here's all your messages in your inbox, or if you're in a folder, it works the same. If I was down here in my college class folder, it works the same, but we're going to work from the inbox. That's where we're normally working. So if I open my inbox, I can do a lot of things with these messages before I actually open the message. So just from looking at it, I can decide if I want to apply a star. I might want to give this a star. And I'll use the one that I think it's important, but I'm not sure. So I'm gonna put a question mark, and I could, if I want it to be important, I can mark the important marker here. I can also come over here and archive it directly from my inbox. So it's just going to take that inbox label off, leave it in all mail, but it'll take it out of my inbox by clicking the archive from here. I can also delete it from here. If it's something that's an advertisement or it's something from several days ago, like this one, that was a special offer that's passed. So I can just delete it from here. I don't need to open it. Or I can switch it to unread. So this toggles it from read to unread from here. This is snoozing. So what I can do, if there's something here that I know what it is and I want to read it, but I know I don't have time to read it right now, I can snooze it and set a date. And what I want to do is look at it Saturday morning, because I'm not going to have time until Saturday morning to look at this. When I click snooze, it's going to take it out of my inbox, and you watch it's going to disappear. So it's out of my inbox. That's one way to get things out of your inbox. And it comes over here under snoozed. This is another label. It's really still in my all mail, but I can, when I snooze it, it comes into here. And if I want to read it earlier than this Saturday, I can go ahead and open it and read it now. If not, it tells me it's been snoozed until June 5th. On June 5th, it will pop back into my inbox automatically. So it'll be back here as an unread message on Saturday. So that's kind of a nice little trick. Let me open a message. And there's lots of things you can do to messages. We've talked about a lot of them already, so I can go through these fairly quickly. Ooh, and I need to, because we're about to run out of time. Here's archive. We talked about that. Here's spam. We've talked about that. Here's delete. We talked about that. Mark it as unread. Snooze. We've covered all these before. This adds it to a task. We're not going to talk about that, but there's several things we're not going to go over. There are more advanced features. This is one you'll use a lot, even though I don't like the way it's labeled. Let's say I haven't put the NIA label on it yet, and I come to here, and all I want to do is get it out of my inbox and add that NIA label. So I could manually add the NIA label, and then I could manually either click here or click here to get it out of my inbox. This does both of those at one time. I could just say move it to NIA. And what it does is it takes out the inbox label, adds the NIA label. Works like you do with folder. The only thing I don't like about that is that you're not really moving anything. So I think it confuses people by calling it move to. It never moved. It's still sitting in all mail. It's always going to sit in all mail unless I move it to spam or trash. But that's how you can basically remove the inbox and add another label with one click instead of 2 or 3. Triple dots, always click them. Again, these are things we've already talked about for the most part. Mark it as unread, mark it as important. Google gives you lots of different ways to do the same thing. So you'll see the same thing repeated several times. Here's add a star. I can do that from here, etc. Over here, I can add the important flag from here. I can print it from here. I can add a star from here. If I want to give it a star. I can reply from here. There's no forward from here, which is I find confusing, but that's the way that Google works. There at the bottom of every message, there is also a reply and a forward. So I guess Google thinks once you've read through it, then you decide if I want to reply back or if I want to forward to somebody or whatever. The other way I can get to the forward, if I don't want to scroll all the way to the bottom, is to click this triple dot. And there's reply again, there's forward. If there were multiple recipients, it would be a reply all option here. I can print from here. I can print from there as well. I can delete this message from here. I can delete from here. I want to talk about block briefly. Blocking does the same thing as reporting spam. If I block ResearchGate, all future messages from ResearchGate are going to go straight to my spam bucket. The only difference is this doesn't report anything to Google. This one will actually send a report to Google saying, hey, this sender is spamming me. This one I would use if there's not somebody spamming me, I don't want to report them. I just don't want their message anymore. Lots of times this is individuals. Maybe somebody that used to be my friend is no longer my friend. I've told them to stop emailing me. They still email me. I can block them. I don't want to report them to Google as spam. It's a person, not a company, but I don't want their messages in my inbox any longer. That's what block will do. Think about blocking someone on Facebook is a better analogy probably. All right. So any questions on any of those things you can do with a message? Because we are just about out of time here.
Wade, why not just use all mail and never use inbox? Is there any advantage to using just your all mail folder and just never use inbox?
You could, but most people want, the inbox is sort of most people's work box. You want things to start in your inbox and then you move it somewhere else. So if you started in all mail, you're going to have all these things you've already looked at and you don't want to look at them again because they've already been filed away and you've taken it out of the inbox, but it's going to have stuff that are still in the inbox. You'd almost need to filter this by inbox, which is what this does. So that's, I think it gives you a better starting point. And you could do that. But that's the purpose of the inbox. Here's stuff, pretty much inbox is things I'm still working on. Either I haven't even read them yet, or I've looked at them, but I'm still haven't decided what I'm going to do with it. So I'm going to keep it in my inbox until I decide what I'm going to do and then get it out of my inbox. Good question. Okay, so I'm going to go to closing quickly because I've run over time here, but there were lots of good questions and a lot to cover. So this is the official end of the class. I do want to thank everyone for attending. Hope you enjoyed the class. I do want to mention a couple of related classes that I mentioned already. Getting started with Google Apps shows you all those different apps available from that waffle icon. And then Gmail, useful things you might not know, is the follow-on class to this class where we go into lots of other things that I've mentioned, some of them, the search, and we'll get into how you can set up rules to move messages around and distribution list, a lot of other things there. Okay. So let me go to the closing slide. And after class, you're going to get an email which will have several sections to it. The first section is the class notes. And I do want to mention that in addition to some links to some websites, we'll have some additional information about Google Mail, Gmail. It'll also have links to those classes I just mentioned that are related. So if you want to take the follow-on class or take that Google Apps class, there'll be links in these class notes to go ahead and register for that class. You can actually recommend the class as well via Facebook or email. And there'll be some other classes that may or may not be related to Gmail, but that you might want to take. You can click on those links as well. Give feedback, opens up the feedback form. Only 2 questions, really quick. And view schedule will actually take you to our website where you can book another class. And if you're looking for a class, I think the quickest way to find it is to just do a search in the search bar. So if I'm looking for that Google Apps class, I can just type app. And well, I didn't find it. I'm going to just do it the Google Apps. And there it is. Learn all about Google Apps. So if I wanted to take that class, I can just click that response under the search, and it'll take me to the this class. If you ever see notify me, it means the class is going to be offered again, but it's not in the 2-week planning window. We only book classes out for about 2 weeks. It'll probably pop up a 3rd week from now. If you click notify me, we'll let you know when it's available to book. You don't have to keep coming back and checking to see if it's there. We'll send you a link to register for it as soon as it's on the schedule again. And last thing very quickly is if there's a guide that you like or several guides you like and you want to see what they're going to be teaching, instead of putting in a class in the search, type the person's name, hit enter. It'll show you all the classes they're going to be teaching. These are my classes in chronological order, starting with the next class I'm going to be teaching later today, all the way out for the next 2 weeks. Okay, so I'm 1 minute over. I do want to thank you for attending. Hope you learned some things about Gmail, and certainly hope I see you again in another class soon. Bye, everybody. Have a
Bye,
great
Wade.
day.
Bye, thank you.
Yes,
Wonderful.
bye now.
Bye, Wade.
Bye, everybody.